Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I'm really excited to be joined by Dayal and Mansehaj, both from Cricfan Corner. Please do check out their channel. It's a fantastic channel on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description as well. Dayal, first of all, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, Faizan. How are you?
I'm good. And Mansehaj, you good as well?
Great, Faizan. Great being on your channel and hoping for a great discussion as always.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've got quite a bit to go through. So, for the viewers at home, we're just going to quickly do a very brief roundup of the Test series, and then we're going to look more in depth at the T20 series coming up. So, first of all, you guys being Indian fans must be very happy with the Test series. I think after the first Test match, they're like, "Oh, England might have a chance," but no, India completely dominated after the second Test match. And that was it. And winning 3-1. Dayal, was it what you expected, or did you think they underperformed India or overperformed? How did you judge India's performance in the Test series?
I think they underperformed in the first test because I thought that they will be in the home test series. You expect India to beat you expect India to have a clean sweep against the opposition, but that was not the case. England won the first match and with a big margin of 227 runs. So I think they underperformed in the first test, and the comeback they made, that was fabulous.
No, I agree. Mansehaj, are you of the same opinion?
Yes, I think this Indian team has been a team of fighters, and always when they are down, they always come back with a great win, and they come back strong. They come back up. I think on the first Test match, if I talk about, I think there was uh, there was some issues. I think related to selection like Nadeem coming in without not being in the team selection, or we can say in the scheme of things. And I think the selection has been like that always. If I talk about selection has lagged. If I talk about when the series starts, like we saw in Australia, they I think if I talk about Dhawan, they bagged him as a wicketkeeper, not Rishabh Pant. So I think there's been some selection issues starting the series, but I think definitely they have came back good whenever they're.
No, I agree. And it's interesting because before this Test series, I think a lot of people said England won't win a single Test. So I think maybe there's a feeling, and it sounds like what you guys are saying in India, that it's expected and it's not an amazing feat to win at home against England. It's okay, we did our job, and that's what should have happened. I don't really want to go into it too much, but I'll get your thoughts on it as Indian supporters as well. So obviously, there's a little bit of discussion about the pitch in the second and third test. So my opinion is that the first test is probably too flat, and then the second and third test match is probably too hard to bat on. But when I look at it, the fourth test match, I think, was perfect, I thought, as in terms of the balance between bat and ball. And India won that test match, right? So I'm thinking that, okay, the pitch probably wasn't great for the second and third test match, probably not great for test cricket, but if it was a pitch that was fairer for bat and ball, if that makes sense, then India still would have won. So I don't think there's an issue, saying that India are not deserving of the victory. I think they're very deserving of the victory. They're clearly the better side. They've got the better spinners, and better batting lineup as well, more solid. So I think, and even the fast bowlers, etc. as well, right? So I think overall they're superior team in especially at home as well in Test cricket to England at the moment. But what did you guys think of the second and third Test match pitches? Did you think, obviously, India they have a right to use advantages when they're at home, like with the pitches. But did you think maybe it was a pitch that wasn't necessarily good enough for a Test match because it didn't get far enough? We had 2 days and 3 days, and even some of the Indian batsmen were struggling on the track. So I just wanted to get very briefly your thoughts on it. So Dayal, what do you think?
I think the second test match pitch was very bad. With regards to you talking about the third test match, which was in Ahmedabad, I think the more than the pitch, the pink ball factor was very played a crucial part, because if you see the batting of the England and also for India, they batted very poorly, and they did not seems like they were a club level batsman and not made for international cricket. So more important was that the batting was very much poor at that pitch, and the batsman did not play the pink ball better. And with regards to the second test match Chennai pitch, I think that was more bad than the third test match pitch.
Okay, no, I get you. I guess Mansehaj, do you agree? Then the pink ball, there was talks that because it has a bit of extra lacquer on it, that it speeds up. Which and a lot of batsmen haven't played much with the pink ball, especially I guess in England. There's a lot of inexperienced younger players, and even for India as well. So they were struggling. Did you think it was just that? It was the pink ball as well, especially.
Yes, definitely. I think pink ball has been a bigger factor and a great factor. If I talk about the third test match, particularly the test match finishing in under 2 days. If I talk about 1.7 days, the test match finished. I think that definitely says a lot about the pitch. But I also think that we cannot entirely blame the pitch because I think the batsman's technique, or you can say the application, was also poor. Mainly, if I talk about the English players. You definitely cannot expect a foreign team to come in India and to rule the Test series. But if I also talk about the Indian players, they also struggled against the spinners. I think if I talk about Pujara, if I talk about Rahane, I think they definitely struggled against the spin in this series, and that was quite evident. And I think this factor has come and talk a lot of times that Indian players not playing domestic cricket or not having the time to play domestic cricket because there you face quality spinners or Indian pitches where definitely the pitch helps the spinners. So Indian players not getting enough time to play domestic cricket because they're too busy in their international schedule. So I think that's been a big factor with regards to Indian players struggling against this.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess the reason maybe there's more questions on the pitch because, as you said, the Indian batsmen also struggled, right? And you'd expect people like Rahane, Kohli, Pujara, normally these guys are scoring a lot of runs at home, and historically they've scored a lot of runs. So I think maybe that's why people were then saying, well, hold on. And I do think, as a batsman myself, when I look at it, it does look challenging. But again, as I said, I don't think that is the reason why India won, if that makes sense. Because I just think if it's another pitch, India's going to win anyway. I just think as a spectacle for Test cricket, it's probably not great. But then, the ICC can look into that. But again, would it have changed the result? I don't think so. But for me, the biggest thing is, I think they showed a graphic which was really interesting. And I think it was Ashwin, and they showed like 9 different balls basically pitching on about this very similar line in length. And they were going in 9 different directions. And it showed me that obviously the pitch maybe is not, it's just challenging, I think, very challenging for batsmen. I think even the Indian batsmen are not used to batting on those types of pitches. I mean, you could see that. But yeah, I mean, again, as I said, I don't want to touch upon it too much. I mean, we want to talk about the T20, so this will lead us quite nicely onto it. Rishabh Pant, right, had a fantastic series, I thought. Really, really good. Solidified his position as the wicketkeeper batsman. As you said, Mansehaj, in the Australia series, they went with Saha because they thought Saha is a better keeper and more solid, maybe. But Pant obviously performed really well in Australia. Now he's performed very well at home against England, right? Fantastic 100 as well. I feel like he was. So just very briefly for people that don't know, I mean, you guys will know that he came into the Indian side initially as a white ball player, right, in the T20s because he was performing well in the IPL. Then he didn't perform very well for India in the white ball initially. Now he's come back into the Test side and he's performed really well. Do you think, do you think playing in Test matches has helped him mature a little bit in the sense that he still plays in an aggressive way, but he knows his game more and there's more value to your wicket in Test cricket, I think, as well. So do you think maybe that's helped him? And now going into the T20 series, do you think he'll also perform in the white ball series as well?
See, first of all, Faizan, when you talk about Rishabh Pant, what I saw in the Test series against Australia and in this home Test series, that the word maturity, his aggression was becoming over-aggression. He was throwing wickets at the crucial junctures. Maybe it was the New Zealand semi-final, or maybe it was somewhere in every situation we was finding that Rishabh Pant for India was throwing wickets at crucial junctures, which led the Indian team management frustrating. They did not back him in the Test cricket, that is known. But in white ball cricket, he did not earn his chances. He wasted all his chances. He has got another chance with regards to, and it's not new for Rishabh Pant. He was picked in 2017 against England series, and then he was again dropped. Then he was picked in 2018 when MS Dhoni was dropped. Then he again failed for quite some times, and then he had came back. So I think that with Rishabh Pant, the factor is that he has to show his that he has to perform in crucial junctures, which he showed in the Australia Brisbane Test or maybe the last Test match. So if he performed in the crucial juncture, this Indian team management is gonna back him till for a longer period of time. But if he fails, there are several other wicket keepers like Ishan Kishan, who was having an outstanding IPL of 500 plus runs with a strike rate of 140 plus. So he is also putting. He's also there to get that place on that spot of the Indian team for a wicket keeper slot. And there is a KL Rahul, who was right now he's the second wicket keeper since the heroics of Rishabh Pant in Australia and in England against England. So I think that the point will be the Rishabh Pant has to prove against this side, and I think he can be a good white ball player, but he can be someone like Virender Sehwag, who was a very good red ball player and suddenly was not that much good performer in the white ball area.
No, I agree with that. It's interesting. It's funny because you said he was picked, maybe 3-4 years ago. He's only 23. So he forgets that he would have been 18, 19. So it's not surprising that he was throwing his wicket away because there's only maybe a handful of elite players at that age who are able to have that maturity, as you said. I think maturity is the right word, 100%. And he seems to now have it. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely now solidified his position as Test wicketkeeper, which is funny because I think his game is potentially more suited to T20s and ODIs. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does in the T20s, right? I'm assuming he will play, which leads me on to Mansehaj. Obviously, KL Rahul is the wicketkeeper at the moment, wicketkeeper batsman in the T20s. Do you think they'll play both of them? Do you think they'll play KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant in the T20s?
I think you're talking about KL Rahul as a wicketkeeper. I think the team management has clearly said and clearly have cleared their views that what they think about the wicketkeeping of KL Rahul or Rishabh Pant. I think if you look at the squad, they have put the wicketkeeping the option in front of only Rishabh Pant and Ishan Kishan. So they have said that our main wicketkeeper is Rishabh Pant and our backup wicketkeeper will be Ishan Kishan. So I think the scheme of things have entirely changed. I think after Rishabh Pant's heroics, I think he's now suddenly become a priority in the white ball series as a wicketkeeper. And if I talk about Rishabh Pant, I think you can say that he had lost his opportunities by not performing well, by throwing away his wickets in mainly the white ball series or mainly the ODIs and the T20s. But I think there was excessive pressure, I feel, on the young lad, because when he doesn't perform or when he leaves a catch or something, I saw in an ODI game in India that people from the crowd started chanting Dhoni Dhoni. So I think these things may make the youngster, I think, burdened and takes a toll on him and gives him excessive pressure. So I think these things might have halted his career in white ball, but I think he's in great form, and he might show his heroics again in white ball series.
No, I agree. There's a lot of pressure when you're that age, right? And you're 18, 19 coming into the India side, where, as you said, MS Dhoni, who's one of the biggest superstars in Indian cricket for the past, 20, 30 years, and then you replace him as wicketkeeper, and I think we can see Rishabh Pant, his wicketkeeping is probably not as good as it can be. I think he's still got improvements, which he'll probably make. His batting, I feel like, is his most impressive quality. But coming into that, so then when you do drop a catch, and people, as you said, start chanting Dhoni Dhoni, then he's thinking, in the back of his head, mentally, is tough. It's really, really tough. So I think he's done very well to come back. And he's 23, still young. He's got a long time still yet to play at the top. Then kind of leading on to the T20 squad. So obviously Shikhar Dhawan's in there. Do you think they've got a little bit of a conundrum, a little bit of a good headache to have, in that Shikhar Dhawan scored a lot of runs in the T20s against Australia, right? Because I think it was Rohit Sharma was injured, wasn't he? So do you think, who are they going to go with as opening pair, do you think? I mean, they've got Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul or Shikhar Dhawan, who would you pick, or who do you think they will go with even?
I think with regards to team management, but I have a bit different views. But I think team management wanna back Shikhar Dhawan, KL Rahul, and Rohit Sharma. They have to place. I think what they did in England 2018 series was that they batted KL Rahul at number 3, also at that time KL Rahul was at brilliant form. He made runs again in the Sri Lanka series again in 2017, and he was in brilliant T20 form. But they did that. So I think that KL Rahul will bat at 3. Maybe at 4, Virat Kohli, and they will open with Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma. So how I think, but with my views, I think they should open with KL Rahul. They should take a big decision with Shikhar Dhawan. What England have taken with Joe Root, they took the big decision by giving David Malan the option, the opportunity, and placing him and making not selecting Joe Root in the T20 setup. I think the time is up for Shikhar Dhawan in the T20 setup. There is some youngsters like Ishan Kishan who can be the third opener, along with providing the wicket-keeping options. So you don't know where the Rishabh Pant will go. He can be in the T20 setup. He can't be in the T20 setup. So you can place Rishabh Pant as a third opener also. So I think Shikhar Dhawan is becoming a barrier in the framing of this, making a good T20 side which India can make.
That's interesting. What do you think, Mansehaj? Do you agree?
I think I completely agree with Dal. If you talk about the approach to play T20 cricket, it's like bang bang bang, like the way England plays. I think from the first ball you need to go, and you have to have the approach of going for a 4 or 6 on every ball. So I think that's the brand of cricket they played. And after 2015, when England failed to qualify in the quarterfinals, they completely changed their approach. So I think that is the thing I think which India needs. And if I talk about with respect to the opening pair, I think they need to go with KL Rahul, the second best. He's the second best T20 batsman at the moment, and Rohit Sharma has always been a brilliant T20 player. And with regards to I think so Shikhar Dhawan, he's been an inconsistent player. If I see in T20 cricket, definitely if he fails in 2-3 innings, he gets the score in 4 innings. So that just saves him from getting dropped. Whenever he's on the verge of getting dropped, he makes runs. So, but I think KL Rahul, I think so, will be the solution to the opening pair, because I think so the brand of cricket which KL Rahul plays, that might be suitable. But if I talk about the team, what the team might be thinking, I think they are rightly said in 2018. I think the England tour and the Australia tour, Rohit and Shikhar opened, and KL batted at number 3. KL had a brilliant IPL. If I talk about 650 plus runs, had a strike rate of 150, but still I think team management looked at him at number 3 position and Virat at number 4. So I think the overall combination disturbs when Virat bats at number 4, because I think his game is more suited to number 3, and I think this will be the best combination for the Indian team. If I talk about Rohit, KL opening, and Virat at number 3, and you have good options in the middle.
Okay, that's interesting. So, yeah, so I think both of you are saying that they probably will go with Dhawan, but you'd like to see KL Rahul opening Rohit Sharma, and then, obviously Kohli then I guess at 3, and then you have more people in the middle order, and kind of say to Dhawan, I'm assuming he'll still play ODIs because he's still very good in the one-day internationals, but maybe not T20s, which is interesting. What do you guys think of Shreyas Iyer? Because a lot of my subscribers are of two thoughts. I don't have very strong views, but I've seen a lot of people in some of my lives be very, very opinionated. They've got very strong views. So the first view is he is the next big thing. He's going to be potentially future India captain, and in terms of his batting, he's very talented and he's performed quite well. The other view is actually he's underperformed, he's a bit overrated, and maybe he shouldn't actually be in the India side right now. Maybe it's too early. Daya, what do you think? What's your view on Shreyas Iyer?
When you talk about Shreyas Iyer, first thing, he deserves to be at the number 4 position in the T20 setup. What he has done, he has performed against the New Zealand with getting 250. So New Zealand is a very good side, and if you get runs in the tough conditions, you have to give him preference. When the people who are thinking that Surya Kumar Yadav or someone other can get at number 4, first they have to understand that international performance will be given priority rather than the IPL performance. And when Shreyas Iyer will fail in this series, then you can take a call. But before that, if at number 4, I want the Indian team management to bat him at number 4, which I don't think they will do. But if they bat him at number 4, he's having at an average of 50 and a strike rate of 150. That is very good. And with the likes what we have seen with Virat Kohli against spinners, he rotates, and someone like Shreyas Iyer coming against the spinners, he can hit them big. So what Shreyas Iyer brings to the table is his attacking cricket against the spinners. There has been a lot of talks about his bouncer. He is not comfortable in facing bouncers, but I think those talks are just illogical, because when you take 2-3 matches, the samples of 2-3 matches, it does not say everything. Because if you talk about Virat Kohli, he gets out on the spinners, but you can't say that spinner is his weakness. He can hit him them. Yes, Iyer was having the impact he had in the Indian team. I think I would say that he deserved to be at that spot. And with other players, I think I don't get that confidence, because when Virat Kohli bats, his weakness against the bouncer has been a lot of talk. But if you talk about that 2-3 sample, if you talk about the sample is very small. If he fails in this series and he has a weakness which is identified as his bouncer, then you can put him out of the team or out of the 11, not out of the 15, because he's a performer in that side. So I completely think that Shreyas Iyer should be back, not just because that Surya Kumar Yadav is sitting outside he's not part of the 11, or Ishan Kishan is not part of the 11. They will get their chances when they deserve. You can't put someone who has performed at international level out of the 11, and just on the basis that Surya Kumar Yadav has performed in the IPL or Ishan Kishan has performed in the IPL with a better strike rate. So some fans forgot that even Shreyas Iyer has got 500 plus runs. Maybe the strike rate may be 135, but he has also got 500 plus runs. That's my point.
No, I agree actually, in the sense that, I don't know, I'll come to you, Mansehaj, as well, but I think, and I've had a lot of discussions with other people about this, especially like my subscribers as well, and I think, and I still am of this thinking that international cricket is up here, and you've got franchise cricket, right? And whether you want to say, some people say, and I understand why, that the IPL is the best franchise. That's fine, but even then, I still think international cricket is still above that. There's some people who actually think the IPL is better than international cricket, ability-wise, right? And I don't agree with that. And I think what you just said there about international performances is right, because you can only judge a player based on their international performances, right? You can't just judge them based on the performances in the IPL. Mansehaj, do you agree with that then? Do you think that, do you think they should stay with Shreyas Iyer, and do you think they should be judging players more based on international performances rather than saying, actually, someone's performed better than you in the IPL, so we'll replace you? What do you think?
I think, as rightly said, I think franchise cricket cannot be a parameter to be compared with international cricket. Franchise cricket can be a parameter of selecting a player with regards to his domestic performance as well. But I think so with regards to, I think, comparing two players, you can't compare a franchise player's candidature or his innings there, and you cannot compare the statistics of international cricket. Because if I talk about franchise cricket, you nearly get one or two bowlers which can be easy to target. But if I talk about, there's a lot different in international cricket. But with regards to Shreyas Iyer, I think, as rightly said by Dayal, that if I talk about at number 4 position, he has had a strike rate of 150. He has had an average of 50, but definitely that strike rate and average falls when his position is rotated. Because sometimes I saw last year where Shivam Dube was promoted above him just to try as him as an all-rounder when Hardik was injured. So I think so they shuffled his position like that, giving other players the opportunity to play, or other players the opportunity to try them at the upper order. So I think he is not. And if I talk about the number 4 position, there was a lot of debate. There's still a debate about number 4 position, but if I talk about in 2019 World Cup, there was no clear number 4. And after that West Indies series, Shreyas Iyer had performed brilliantly. I think he nearly stopped that debate and put a shut on that debate for a year. And this debate has suddenly started because of him just being exposed against the bouncers for 2 to 3 matches. So I think that's definitely illogical thinking. And and he should be backed as the number 4 in T20 series.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be nice to see, as you both have said, that Shreyas Iyer scored runs internationally. So to me, it makes, as you said, it's illogical. It doesn't. There's no common sense involved if you drop him. So that, and also you said about Rishabh Pant, right? Like mentally, if you for him mentally, if he gets dropped after performing well, he's thinking, well, what do I need to do? And then the issue is that then players might think to themselves, actually, performing in the IPL is more important than performing to India to get into the Indian team, which doesn't make any sense, does it? So I think, yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. What about Bhuvneshwar Kumar? He's come back in, right? 2 years out with injury. Before that, he was one of the first names on the Indian team sheet, right? A really big fan. I mean, he swings the ball both ways. He's he's managed to get a bit quicker as well, which is really good to see, and it's really improved his game. Daya, what do you think? Do you think he's going to come straight into the team for Bhuvneshwar Kumar?
Bhuvneshwar Kumar, if we talk about, I think he has been coming after late injury, and I think with regards to him, the main factor is that how he will perform. With the new ball, I don't have any doubt, but with the old ball, with his, if you see his stats of 2019 and you see the stats of 2020, he has not been that a good death bowler. Yeah, but with the standards of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, we expect him to bowl at an economy of 7 or 8, but he has consistently exceeded 10 runs per over at the death. So that's the reason I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar will be a big case. So he has to prove him in these matches, and I think team management backs Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I saw it in the World Cup 2019 also. I think that will be the case.
What do you think, Mansehaj? Do you agree?
I definitely agree about team management backing Bhuvneshwar Kumar consistently, as because I think he has been injured. I think so at least 4 to 5 times. If I talk about in the last 2 years, I think after 2019 World Cup, he's not played consistent cricket. He's always been injured after a while. And if I talk about this year also, it was said that the lockdown has been really helpful to the cricketers so that they can have some relaxation time and they can recover from their injuries. But I think still Bhuvneshwar Kumar got injured in the IPL, and I think this series might be a breakout or a break-in for Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I see for the T20 World Cup, because I think if he doesn't perform here or he gets injured again at this point. At this point of time, then I think so it might be difficult for him for the T20 World Cup, because I think India has now got a good pool of fast bowlers. There, Jasprit Bumrah is there, Mohammad Shami is there. You can see somebody like a Shardul Thakur, a Natarajan, and a Nadeep Saini. So there is a Deepak Chair also. So I think a good pool of fast bowlers has been created, and but I think his injuries has been a big concern. So I think that needs to be looked after. But definitely, they are also pointed out that his bowling in death overs has gone down because I think at one point of time he was the best death bowler if I talk about India also, and also in franchise cricket. So I think these areas needs to be considered, and I think if he's fit and is available, I think then he will definitely be on the bus for the T20 World Cup.
No, I agree. I agree. What are your thoughts on Axar Patel? Because he had a very good Test series, but I was talking to someone else, and they said that actually maybe he's better in white ball cricket. So do you think he'll perform well with the white ball? And obviously, I don't think it's going to turn as much. From what I know, the Motera pitch has been more batsman friendly with white ball matches. So do you think he'll play firstly, and do you think he'll perform well?
If I talk about, I think India definitely has options in T20 cricket. If I talk about, they have Washington Sundar. They have consistently backed him at number 7 position. Jadeja is injured. And if I talk about, they have somebody like a Rahul Tewatia in the squad, but I think he's failed the fitness test, so he might not be available. But if I talk about Akshar Patel, he's been really good in test matches, and I think he had a knack of taking wickets, and it just become a fun for him taking a 5 wicket haul in every game. So I think he definitely is a bowler more like a Jadeja, because I think he goes for the line and length and can bowl really good, take the line and can bowl really good. So I think that he can be the ideal number 7. but I think they still have options in Washington Sundar, because I think Washington Sundar might be the better batsman than Akshar Patel.
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington Sundar looked really good in the Test series. He looked like a natural batsman. So let's see how he does. Actually, he'll be good. And as an Indian fan, looking at the England team, who are you looking at as people that you think, oh, actually, they're going to be ones to watch, or they're going to be dangerous, or you're actually excited to even just see them play?
I think if I talk about the England side, I think mainly I am interested and excited to see David Malan. I think his stock has been all over the world, and he has performed in Australia, he's performed in England, he's performed in South Africa. But I think so this might be the biggest challenge for David Malan against the Indian attack, and also in the Indian pitches. Because if I talk about definitely his price in IPL also varied, because nobody knows how a foreign player or an English player performs in Indian conditions. So I think this might be a big challenge for him, because two World Cups coming in the next 3 years, and one T20 World Cup in India and one 50 over World Cup in India. So I think this will be a good, I think, a challenge for somebody like a David Malan, and I would be really excited to see how will he perform.
I agree. I agree because I think he's played in. I don't know. Has he played in the IPL before? I don't think he has. Has he?
I
He
think
hasn't.
this was the first season that he came into the auction, and
Yeah.
was sold for a base price of 1.5 CR to Punjab Kings.
Yeah. So he's played in the PSL before. He did okay. He didn't do anything special. He was solid. He was quite solid. But as you said, I think it's interesting to see how he performs in the subcontinent, because that's going to be, very, very important for England going forward to the T20 World Cup, because it's going to be in India, right? So I think they will look to him, and he's been their best player actually over the past year and a half. So they need him really to perform. Um, what about people like Adil Rashid, Moin Ali? Do you think they'll have success as spinners in the white ball format? Do you think they'll perform well?
I think if I talk about spinners can really trouble India. I think if I talk about Moeen Ali, has been really successful against India, be it the Test format or be it the white ball series. So I think these two players might really be crucial. If I talk about Al Rashid, I think he's troubled India a lot of times in white ball cricket. So I think these two players can be really crucial for England.
I agree. I think Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali will both be really crucial. I think, especially in these conditions, for sure, it'll be interesting to see how they do. And what about Ben Stokes? Do you think so Ben Stokes is someone for England who, in test format and ODI format, I feel like he's now found his feet, and he's one of the first picks in the England side, and he's seen as one of the world class players, right, in those two formats. But in 2020s, he's still, if you look at his stats and you look at how he's performed, he hasn't performed very well. And obviously, he got hit for those 4 sixes by Carlos Brathwaite in the final of the T20 World Cup, right? And that's where it turned, I think, because since then he's performed very well. Do you think we're going to see him perform well in this series? Because he hasn't quite had a T20 series yet where he's performed extremely well yet.
If first of all I talk about his 4 sixes against Carlos Brathwaite, I think it has been a very different, or you can say an opposite rates for them, because after the incident, Ben Stokes has risen really well and has gone up the ladder. But if I talk about Carlos Brathwaite, he might have gone a bit lower down the ladder, because he's playing leagues, not playing consistently for his West Indies side. But if I talk about Ben Stokes, I think definitely his performance has gone a lot down with respect to his bowling. I think after the injury, because he came into the IPL after an injury. He was injured for some while. I think definitely he opened for the Rajasthan Royals, and he played really well there. So I think his batting form has still been good. He's now become, I think, more of a batsman than of a bowler. So I think his role will really be crucial as a batsman rather than a bowler.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm hoping that he's going to still be a proper all-rounder, rather than, as you're saying, a batting all-rounder, because I think in the T20s I think it was Pakistan and against Australia in England, he didn't bowl many overs at all. Some games he didn't bowl any. So I think if he bowls a couple of overs, even if it's 2 overs, kind of similar to Hardik Pandya, for example, then it gives you better balance. So I'm hoping that he will do that because he'll be quite crucial, I think, as well. Okay, in terms of your team, if you had to pick your India team, right? If you had to pick your India team, actually, sorry, before we do that, who are your Indian players to watch? Who are you excited about seeing for India to play? And you think actually, I think they're going to perform well, or even players who you think might get a chance and then they'll perform well as well?
I think first of all, I would be really excited to see Rishabh Pant donning the blue jersey, because I think uh, definitely his performance has been great in Test matches. But there's been a lot of talk that how will he perform in the white ball series? Because if he's given the wicket keeping job again, and that this thing might also be come as a pressure thing for him, because if you drop a catch or something in your wicket keeping, if you make a mistake there, the pressure of your wicket keeping goes to your batting, and the confidence of your batting also goes to your wicket keeping. So I think both the things vary. So I think I would be really excited to see how Rishabh Pant progresses. And if I talk about the other players, I think I would really have been excited about Varun Chakravarti, but I think they're again saying that they have some injury concerns regarding him, and it's been a mysterious case for Varun Chakravarti, selected in the Australia series, again dropped because of his injury, and again in the English series, I think that also might happen. But I would really be excited to see somebody like a Surya Kumar Yadav. I think team might go with Shreyas Iyer, I think, in the beginning. But if I talk about Vikram Rathod saying that this series we'll be looking forward for the next T20 World Cup, because I think we will be looking after these five T20s, and will make a core around those players, and that might be our team for the T20 World Cup. So I think they will be giving opportunities for the likes of Surya Kumar Yadav or Ishan Kishan. At least one will play. So I think I would be really excited to see Surya Kumar.
Yeah, I agree. I think I saw that they said the batting coach said they want to have an idea of what their batting lineup is after this, and that's the right. I think that's the right attitude to have, because you want to try and go, 6 months with a pretty solid team, knowing this is who I'm going to pick, so that you can work with that team come the World Cup. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we'll see them get a chance or two. They won't play the same team in all 5 T20s, so that would be interesting.
I think they might have a plan of rotating somebody like Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in between the series. Like if after 2 or 3 T20s, if India has won a couple of T20s, so I think they did that in New Zealand as well, where I think in the fourth T20 Rohit Sharma was rested, and in the fifth T20 Virat was rested. So I think and they gave the opportunities to somebody like a Sanju Samson to open for the last T20s. So I think this a thing like this can happen, like Virat resting, or maybe Rohit resting, and Surya Kumar Yadav or Ishan Kishan being given the opportunity. So I think this also the team management and the captain will be looking forward.
No, I agree. And then if I have to push you for the first T20, what's your India 11 going to be?
I think if I talk about the first T20, I think I will be going with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul to open. Virat Kohli at number 3, Shreyas Iyer at number 4, / Surya Kumar Yadav. One might play. I think Shreyas Iyer will be given the nod. And at 5, I think Rishabh Pant. 6, Hardik Pandya, Washington Sundar, Yuzvendra Chahal, and I think and you will see some like a Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Natarajan, and I think Shardul Thakur. This might be the.
That's interesting. That's cool. Yeah, Charlotte Tucker he can bat a little bit as well, can't he? So that will help. Okay, that's cool. I get that 100%. Yeah, so no Navdeep Saini then for the first T20.
I think they might go in with the one of some like a Natarajan or Navdeep Saini, because I think they have gone with Shardul Thakur in past also in T20 series, because he adds that value with the bat in the lower order. So I think they will be going with Shardul Thakur definitely.
Okay. And as a prediction, how do you think this series is going to go? Who's going to win and what way?
I think this might be a better series if I talk about the Test series. I think this might be a better competitive and a better fought series. So I think it will go 3-2 in favor of India.
No, I agree. I agree. I think it'll be 3-2 in favour of India for sure. For sure. And actually, okay, I'm going to give you two more predictions. So the first one is, who do you think is going to score the most runs in the series? So who do you think the two teams, who's going to score the most runs?
I think if I talk about, I would say KL Rahul. He has had a really good T20 season. He's been a season campaigner. So I would be going KL Rahul in this series.
And most wickets?
Most wickets, I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar might come in strong with his T20 form. So I think I would go with Bhuvneshwar.
So no England players.
I think England definitely. I think Jofra Archer might be in contention, and he can be the bowler for England.
Okay, nice. I enjoy. And actually, lastly, I wanted to ask you something. So Ravi Ashwin has been fantastic in Test cricket, right, for a very long time. I know that he used to play some ODIs and T20s, doesn't anymore. What do you think? Do you think he is good enough to be in this India side in the shorter formats, or no? Do you think his time is gone in the shorter formats? What do you think?
I think if I talk about the 2017 Champions Trophy when he last played the white ball cricket or the ODI cricket, I think his form wasn't good. He had become a bowler just to contain not taking wickets. His approach was like that. I think if I talk about 2017, so he was rightly dropped. He and Jadeja were dropped along, but Jadeja came back after a year. But if I talk about Ashwin, his form has been really good. He's been performing really well in the domestic cricket. He's had a good IPL. Definitely when he captained the Kings 11 Punjab, the Punjab Kings. So I think his bowling had gone down because he also had the captaincy responsibilities. But I think going into DC, had having the leadership of someone like a Shreyas Iyer and the coaching of Ricky Ponting, I think he's improved a lot, and he has shown that he still has the variations and he still has the capabilities of being a good white ball player. So I think this IPL might also matter, but I think India has got a lot of spinners. If I talk about now, they are preferring Washington Sundar as their off spinner. So I think they're going with him as their off spinner, and they are backing someone like Yuzvendra Chahal and Varun Chakrabarti. So these Jadeja is also there. So these 3 or 4 spinners, I think they're already in the scheme of things. And next T20 World Cup he might see, but I think he's not in the scheme of things in the other team management related to the white ball.
I agree. And what about Kuldeep Yadav? He's not in the squad. Is that a surprise?
No, I think I'm not surprised because he's been a mysterious case. If I talk about playing really well, 2 years, every batsman had become his bunny, and after that, his form had gone down. But I think the team backing was he also missed that. And if I talk about not being included in the test side, not being included in the white ball series, so I think he just become a substitute player. And also in the IPL, if I talk about, they have likes of Varun Chakrabarti there in Kolkata Knight Riders. They have some like a Sunil Narayan there. And this year also it might be difficult for him to get into the starting 11 in the IPL because they have some like a Shakib Al Hasan also coming in there, and they have some a veteran like a Harbhajan Singh. So I think his role, his journey has become really difficult, and it's been a mysterious case. I think definitely he needs to go back to the drawing board and get him improved perform in the domestic cricket, because there's been also talk about his pace, because they're saying that he's been bowling too slow, batsman getting the time to go back and hit him. So I think he needs to go back to the drawing board and fix his things, and definitely then he might make a comeback for team.
No, that's interesting actually, because he's very unorthodox left arm wrist spinner, and you don't see too many around now. Although to be honest, I say that I think you see more now than you used to. So now you've got obviously him, Shamsi, And who else? There's another one who plays. Who's it for? Left arm spinner.
George Linde.
Sorry?
George Linde. South
Oh no,
African.
no, he's an off spin, left arm wrist spinner, left arm leg spinner. So like Shamsi, Kuldeep Yadav. There's one other I've forgotten.
I think there's a Sri Lankan spinner. I think.
Yes, that's it. Sorry, Sandakan, Lakshan Sandakan.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's three which I remember. There's maybe one when I was growing up. So there's a lot more now, which is it's exciting. It's good to see.
I think I only saw Brad Hogg. If I talk about slow left arm time, and I think there was rarely, if I talk about the last 8 to 10 years, but now I think the game evolving. I think we are seeing the orthodox spinners, or we are seeing the mystery spinners becoming successful in T20.
Yeah, which is cool. Which is good to see. It's good to see that, I think, because they're exciting. They're exciting wicket takers as well. Is there anything you want to touch upon before we wrap up?
No, I think we have had enough discussion. I think, and I also wanted to ask who will be your player to watch out for in this series.
Ooh, that's from both teams.
Yes,
from both teams. Okay. I think Rishabh Pant is one to look out for, definitely, for India. I think there'll be a lot of eyes on him because he performed so well, as you said. So I think he's definitely one to look out for. For England, I think Adil Rashid is going to be quite big for them because I think he's a very good white ball player, and there's going to be an expectation for him to take wickets in India with the conditions. So I think he's one to look out for as well, I'd say. But if I'm looking at some of the other players that people might not know as well even, sorry. I mean, obviously they've got people in there like Billings, Sam Curran, Tom Curran, Liam Livingston, Reece Topley. I don't know how much game time these guys will get. Sam Billings he's performed quite well in the ODIs for England recently. So
against Australia.
Yeah, against Australia. So interesting to see whether he can do the same if he does play. We'll see. We'll see whether he plays or not. And also, the biggest thing for me is, are they going to open with Bairstow and Roy, or is it going to be Butler and Roy? I personally would have Butler in the middle order. I wouldn't open with him, but I think they might open with him. So we'll see.
I think they might go with the formula of Butler and Roy. I think, and number 4 will be Johnny Bairstow. I think they are going with this type of combination in the last, I think, so South African series.
Yes.
So they might go with this combination.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mansehaj, for being on, and also I know Dial was in and out, but thank you to him as well. And guys, if you haven't already, please do check out Cricfan Corner. I'll put their description their link in the description as well. But yeah, thank you again for being on. Please do remember to like this video and subscribe, and also go over to Cricfan Corner. Make sure you subscribe to their channel as well. Cool. Thank you very much, and see you on the next video.